AI is here to stay, right? So please accept that firstly, right? If that is a question in your mind, go ahead, ask whatever you want to the AI. It can be a dumb question. It doesn't matter.
But let's say if you want to start a new project today, irrespective of a programming language, what will be your guess the AI will select the language?
Please do use AI.
Welcome back, aliens. My name is Navin Reddy, and today I am at Google I/O Connect, which is happening in Bangalore. And I got this opportunity to have a podcast with one of the speakers which I wanted to talk to from a long time. And yesterday, when we were discussing, we thought podcast will be a good opportunity. So we got Prashanth here. Thank you so much, Prashanth, for coming on the channel in the Google Studio. So would you like to introduce yourself first, and then we'll start?
Absolutely. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure to be here talking to you. My name is Prashanth. I lead developer adoption for APAC at Google Cloud. And what does developer adoption mean, right? So we build a whole bunch of products at Google Cloud. There is AI, there is Google Cloud, there are a whole bunch of services, products, platforms. It's in my interest to ensure that developers are able to adopt and use this in the fastest way possible and understanding where to use it. So that's my role. That's what I do. Been doing this particular role for about 5 years. Been in the industry for a lot longer than that.
Oh, that's awesome. The way you said about it, it feels like you love your job.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, based on this, since my audience is more of developers, architects, since they're following from a long time, they have a lot of questions which I get in the comment sections. And I thought this is the best opportunity for me to take those questions from the comment section and shoot to you. I'll start with the first one, which is when you talk about MCP, 2 years ago, everyone started talking about MCP and then they thought it's a new tool. But when you play with it, it feels like you're talking to REST API. So how do you differentiate? What's the mindset needed to differentiate between MCP and a REST API?
Awesome. Great question. I get this a lot, and even I used to think about this the same way when we started off, right? What is the difference between MCP and APIs? The critical thing is this, right? Everything at the bottom is a functionality, right? It's a service. The way you expose a service to different kind of entities is where the differentiation comes. So when we talk about APIs, what is it we're talking about? We are talking about REST APIs, right? REST APIs has a specific structure. You have those resources, you have the different verbs that you use. So that is what a REST API is. Essentially, even a REST API is a wrapper on top of a service. MCP is the way that the models can understand, right? So end of it, don't rewrite your whole service or whole functionality as an MCP, right? MCP is a protocol that allows LLMs, models to talk to these services in a very efficient way. The difference here is this. Traditional APIs, it's you make a call, you make a get call, you make a post call, you get back a response, something is done on the server side. LLMs are by nature very chatty, right? It keeps talking back and forth, especially nowadays with the long-running agents, as we call it. There's multiple conversations that goes back and forth. That has to be done efficiently without the overhead of passing information back and forth again and again and so on. So while REST is a stateless protocol, MCP started off, and I'm saying started off, MCP started off as a stateful protocol specifically designed for these LLM interactions. MCP has taken off and is evolving a lot. I can talk for length about MCP, but this is why MCP is different as a protocol, right? It serves a very specific purpose.
Right. Now, since you talked about wrapper in between, and then it struck me. The thing is, when I started my journey with AI, and then I was talking to one of my friends that I'm getting into AI now, and he was like, "What are you doing in AI? Maybe you're writing your own model." I said, "No, I'm going to work as build AI solutions." And he was like, "Okay, you're going to build another wrapper." So because that's how things started, right? So we got LLMs, and then people started building wrappers around it. But I see now things are changing very fast with the help of agentic world. Now, since I was working with ADK, I was able to build multiple agents, working them together, getting data from one agent, passing it to this specialized agent, and things are working amazingly. But when you look at the user perspective, they are still with UI. And when I imagine things, it's more about, in future, if I just want to book a flight, I will not go to make my trip and book a flight or maybe Google Flights. I'll just say, hey, Gemini, book a flight for me. How do you see this transition happening in the industry now?
Okay. Great question, right? I think it's important to understand two parts of it, right? One is how do users want to interact with these systems? That is one part, right? Second thing is, what can you do? What kind of experiences can you deliver? If you use some of these newer technologies, agents, to provide the same kind of an experience, then that is where it starts being thought of as a wrapper, right? But if you extend the functionality, you build on top of it, then it is a full-fledged application with its own value, with its own business logic. So the way we are looking at models as at agents is, we don't want it to, we have gone past this time of chat based one turn interfaces. We want to achieve end goals, right? Like you said, I want to book a flight ticket, right? Now, booking a flight ticket is straightforward, right? Again, you're being very specific here, right? What if you say, I have a business meeting, let's say in Hyderabad, right? And I want to go there, on a pleasant day. That is my goal. That is my intent, right? And this is something where now the agent can help you. It has to go look at a calendar, find your availability, find the correct flight timings, maybe look at some weather patterns where it's not raining, so that you are able to set up your meetings at the right kind of a slot, right? So we are looking at systems that is more goal oriented. And this is the kind of way that we have to think about it while building these systems. Don't build transactional systems using AI. AI as a primitive or as an entity can do a lot more than that, right? So I think, yeah, as you said, a mindset change has to happen where people need to look at it as goals, as how do you achieve what the user wants without the user having to tell you specific steps of what's to be done.
Perfect. Now, since we're talking about agents, in our company as well, we build education content or educational products basically. And we're trying to use agents wherever we need. Now, at this point, we are working on few products where we are using Gemini and then we are building agents with ADK. But one of the things which I got to know, and in fact I was exploring, was Gemma 4.
Okay.
And then I made a video about it. I loved it. And then I was exploring different types of these models. We got Gemma 4, E4B, and then we also have E2B. And you can run E2B on mobile phone. And then I thought, okay, if you can run a local model, which is an open weight models on your mobile phone, I'm just thinking, what are the things you can achieve with this thing? And then I thought, okay, let me build the entire solution, which one of the products which we have, using local models. And again, that's an experiment because I'm not sure if local models can really achieve what frontier models can give. What are your thoughts? Because in the open source world at this point, in the traditional applications, open source is doing very good. What about the LLM models?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Two things, right? Don't be shy of using local models. Local models can do a lot of things that you may not have imagined to do. Don't expect local models to be at the same level as some of the hosted models, right? So it is important to understand what it can and cannot do. Now, let's start with Gemma 4. Gemma 4 as a model uses the same architecture as Gemini 3, right? We use a process of distillation, and Gemini 3, some of the capabilities have been distilled into Gemma 4 as a model. So there are two things that is differentiating or that are part of a local model, right? Or an open weight model. One is the capability of the model. What can it do? The second, I would say, is the intelligence of the model. What does a model know? Now, local models, like you said, the E2B and E4B, right? So these are effectively 2 billion or 2 or 4 billion parameters. These are small models. They do not have the world knowledge that the Gemini, the larger 3.1 Pro or the 3.5 Flash models have, right? It does not have it. So don't expect it to do that. But in terms of capabilities, what are capabilities? We want the model to have reasoning and thinking capabilities. We want the model to be able to do tool calling, right? Given my use case, which MCPs that I call, right? Or which functions that I call. These are the capabilities of the model. Gemma 4 retains all the capabilities of the Gemini model, but just not the world knowledge, right? So it's great now that we have these models that are small enough that we can run on even a mobile device. We can make it do a lot of things. So think about what kind of use cases you're building out. If you are building a use case where you're summarizing a piece of text, you don't need world knowledge, right? You need understanding of texts. A local model can do that really well. A local model is better because it's a smaller model. It is running locally, doesn't have to do network hops. It's much faster, right? So you don't always need to go to a cloud model. If you're able to access a local model, you can definitely use that, right? So these are the ways that you have to think about various use cases. Use cases where you want to use a model to do a RAG application. Again, a local model can do this, right? Because if you have your PDFs and all your documents sitting locally, your open weight models that you're running locally can access that and give you the response, right? You don't need to go outside. But then, yes, very complicated use cases, compute intensive use cases, deep reasoning, you may want to switch to a cloud model in those cases.
Right. Maybe when I was learning this, maybe I was learning in a good time when tools were not changing that fast. I'm talking about 2 to 3 years back. But now, if you look at the launches, especially today, we got a lot of announcements. And I was talking to a few of the developers in the community hall, and they were a bit scared for the reason they're working for a company and not a startup. So they're working for enterprises, maybe a bank. And when they were asking questions, how AI will take away their jobs because a lot of things are happening. And I just said, upgrade yourself, work on the AI products. And they're like, we can't do that because in our company, there's a limitation. You can't just introduce a new service and say, I'm going to do this. There's a protocol which you have to follow. One of the suggestions which I gave is maybe you can work on the side projects. So let's say if someone wants to get into this AI world where they want to be future ready, maybe they go for the new interview or maybe they looking for a new opportunity. So let's say if someone is just a developer now, working as a traditional developer, what should be the pathway? How should they start? And what should be their goal? Because a lot of people, they want to start, but they don't know the goal. So just keep learning, never achieving there. So what should be the starting point, path, and the goal?
Awesome. I think you gave a very good use case or a very good direction already, right? So working on some side projects and so on. What I like doing is, so we have gone past this time where, you learn, spend 6 months learning and then implement. The world is changing so fast. By the time you finish learning, there's a new technology out there, right? You're going to only keep learning or catching up to tech. What I like doing by myself is solving my own problems. Okay, let's break this down. So first thing, access, right? Please do use AI, right? Try to find use cases where you can use AI, understand what AI can do and cannot do. That's really, really important, right? So yes, if your company, your organization doesn't give you access, try to get access on the personal side, right? When you go back home, you have enough time at home, right? 6 hours at home, hopefully, or more, right? So, you get your night, of course, taking sleepers out of it. Spend that time leveraging AI for your personal reasons, right? I use AI for learning. If I want to distill a knowledge, a document, I use AI to ask pointed questions. Okay, this sounds interesting. Give me more information. Find me related documents, right? So I use a whole bunch of these AI capabilities. First thing is this: get your hands on AI, right? It is non-negotiable. You have to use it. AI is here to stay, right? So please accept that firstly, right? If that is a question in your mind. So that is it. It's coming to access, right? Get access to it. Now the question of upskilling or leveraging AI, or how do you stay relevant? Have this loop where you learn something, learn about something, try it out, right? So like I said, come up with your own personal use cases. Like for example, like I said, my own use cases, let's say learning languages. I love learning languages, okay? So initially what I did was I had these models where I would build an application that would teach me a few words, right, in a different language that I want to learn. And then I would record me saying it. The model, like Gemini is a multimodal model. It can understand various languages. It would tell me if I'm repeating it, if I'm doing it the right way, right? So I built this. While building it, I understood how to use the frameworks. I understood what the model can do. I didn't spend 1 month understanding the framework, right? I started using it and then learned as I went along. Now, Gemini has a 3.5 live model, which does live translation, right? So how easy it is for me to learn a language if I use that API and directly interact by voice with the AI, and it responds back to me in the language that I want to learn, right? Again, I don't want to spend my time learning that. I use it in a project that means something to me. So yes, please pick a personal project. Pick something that matters to you, right? That you have a strong feeling for, that you're attached to. And that will give you the motivation and drive to actually implement something, and you learn while doing that. So I would recommend somebody to go in that way.
Perfect. And that's what I'm doing now. So whatever AI I'm learning is not a structured approach. It's more about let's build something. What are the problems I'm facing? Just building it, and then in the process, I'm learning. Okay, this is something you can do extra. Sometimes when you talk to the Gemini and then you say, "This is my project. I've built till this point," I just say, "No, roast me. or grill the project.
Absolutely.
And it gives a lot of different perspective. What is going wrong? What are the things you are missing in the project, which will make it more helpful? And I love to do that. So that's perfect.
See, in fact, what you said, right? The way you're asking the AI to grill you or ask you those questions. AI doesn't hold any emotions or feelings, right? It's not like a human tutor where you say, what will they think about me if I ask a question like this? Go ahead, ask whatever you want to the AI. It can be a dumb question. It doesn't matter, right? The AI is there to help you, and you are bringing the AI in a level of capability that you can use it to train yourself or upskill yourself.
Right. Perfect. Lot of insights, Prashanth, and I will not let you go before we have a rapid fire.
Oh, sure, why not?
Yeah. So I have few questions prepared. Let's see if that hits right. So name one Google Cloud service or a AI tool which you have used yesterday while building something or learning something.
I use anti-gravity on a daily basis. So if there's one tool that I've used, it's definitely anti-gravity.
Okay, which one? The IDE one or
I
CLI?
love the CLI. I mean, so it's like this, right? I mean, IDE or the UI makes it a lot more easier, but CLI I think gives me that the traditional developer command line kind of a feel. So my preference is the CLI, but essentially both are equally good.
Right. So CLI feels like you're in power.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Next one. So let's say at this point language doesn't matter anyway. So you are working with maybe Java, Python, JavaScript. But let's say if you want to start a new project today, irrespective of a programming language, and if you ask AI to build a project for you, irrespective of the language, what will be your guess the AI will select the language?
So this is something I've always been telling people: stop thinking about language, right? Let the AI do whatever it feels like. And since this is interesting, right? Different AIs may have different language preferences. I want the AI to build my functionality, right? So I will tell the AI, give it my use case, and tell the AI, build an application that solves my use case. I am not concerned with the language. That said, most AIs today end up using React for the front end, and Python is the preferred language for the back end. So that would be the go-to language for the AIs that I have seen from experience, but it's not something I try to concern myself with.
Perfect. In fact, what happened is I was working on one of the project where I was building a recording application which will record my face and the screen, everything. And I started with anti-gravity as a UI. And then I moved that project to IDE. And then I realized I was thinking it would be a Python project. It was a Rust project.
Oh, wow.
So it understood the use case, what exactly is needed. Since we have to work on the hardware level, now let's use Rust. And I loved it.
Awesome. Yeah.
I realized that after working for 2 days, because I was full into UI, I was not checking the code base. I wanted to do that without checking the code base. When I opened the code base, I realized it is Rust.
Got it.
That was fun.
So in fact, one very interesting that I'll plug in here is, so at Google, we have created a whole bunch of skills. So you can find these skills. It's a GitHub repository. All the skills are available there. There is one skill called the well-architected framework.
Well architecture framework.
Yes, right? So these are the modern architectural best practices and guidelines. Now, if you use that skill, whenever you give any problem statement, what the model will do is look up that knowledge base, decide which framework, language, technology is the best suited for your use case, and implement in that use case. Right? So this is relevant information. Today it's Rust, maybe tomorrow there's a Rust++, right? And as long as architecture framework is updated, it will be able to leverage that, and then you're not relying on the model's knowledge, but you have the a resource that tells the model how to do things.
Right. Perfect. Now, with that, one last question. What's your take? Maybe you have, let's say, 20 seconds to answer this. What's your take on hardness engineering?
We have a lot of things, right? We have context engineering, hardness engineering, loop engineering, with a lot of things, right? Essentially, all of this is how do you ensure that the right amount of information is given to the model? How do you let the model take its own time to implement your use case and use code? So harness engineering is really, really important. What I'm saying is most of the frameworks and technologies will eventually incorporate it. So it's important for you to understand how the systems work, right? Building out, having these long-running agents and running in a loop.
Right. Perfect. Okay, so on that note, thank you so much, Prashanth, for giving your time. I know it's almost end of the day, but you have shown a lot of energy. I thought we'll be chilling here, and but then topic is interesting, and I love your energy.
No, thank you so much. I think it's definitely the end of the day, but then it's good to end it on this kind of a note. So great conversation, I mean. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much once again for coming on the Telusko channel.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And keep watching. Let's wait for the next video. Bye-bye.